Hey guys, cheers for tuning in. So this video is going to be discussing a little bit of Endwalker and essentially what a long-time player goes into it and what I think of it at the very least. Again, this is purely subjective from my end. Everyone has their own priorities in the game, what they like, what they dislike. But in this, I just want to talk about what Endwalker patch 6.0, just the expansion release, now that has been approximately 6-ish months since the launch of the expansion, what has brought it to the table and what is added for players who've been playing a long time, like myself, think of it, and what the game, what draws us to it, what we think, what we dislike, rather what I dislike. So I'm going to say out the gate, brought nothing groundbreaking or any big changes made to the fundamentals of the game for us to play. It's set out a lot of stuff we've seen before, new zones, a new story, rather continuation of a story, so depends how you want to see that. New jobs, so we had Reaper and Sage, a melee DPS and a new healer. As to be expected, we had leveling dungeons as you go through the story. Now, just like Shadowbringers, the story is significantly more of a proponent for everything going into the start of the game, and I'll touch upon just a little bit that and a little bit later. When you finish the story, you have your few end dungeons, you have your raids, which was a delay, but it's still part of the initial expansion experience. You have your level cap increase for both your battle classes and your crafters and gatherers. I'm not going to here talk about the quality of the story, what I think of it, the new jobs, what I think of those. They're purely subjective and they don't fit my particular playstyle, the new jobs that is, but it's nice they're there. I don't classify new jobs as content because it's something new. It's something different to do in something that's already there. So you're playing a new class, so a new way of interacting with the game, but you have to level it in content you've already done. That's not my thing. So I just want to touch upon what's brand new for someone who's going into the expansion with their max level character from the previous one. And that is, it seemed like Square Enix has further double down on the single player experience in the main story that takes you through everything, the new zone, the dungeons, all of it. There's nothing to do, in my opinion, what I would call true side content. I mean, when you load up the expansion, there's nothing else to do that's brought new to the game other than the story itself. There's no side quest, there's nothing to sort of explore that isn't gated behind the main story. You have to do the main story, which brings me a bit of a fundamental problem, which is when you funnel all your players just to that, the game doesn't have a lot of offer. Yes, you could grind, you could level up your crafters and gatherers, but that isn't really tied to anything solid or meaty content. That's just in of itself. Oh yeah, we've had our trials as well, but same formula, just different mechanics, bold mechanics, different mechanics, and it's nice they can do that, rather mostly nice. But it does feel like for a long-term player that isn't releasing added. If anything, a lot of stuff has been taken away. Back in the Realm Reborn, when you get to max level, you had a couple of other stuff. You had your relic line, you had the extreme trials. All you had to do was really get to max level for that and do enough of the story, I believe, to actually do that. The game pretty much wants you to complete it to the very end of the expansion in order to do anything else. So there is, and also when it comes to side quests, there was a lot of branching off quests, or rather there was enough quests to branch off from as you got to a leveling hub. And I'm not really going to go into patch 6.1. I'm going to make that into its own video because that did add a lot of, I won't say groundbreaking, but certainly enough changes to talk about in its own separate video. If you're new to the game and you're leveling through the past expansions up until this point, you'll have plenty to do. But if you have been playing, there's not much. It's very stagnated. It does feel like Square Enix has abandoned the idea of long-term players playing the start of an expansion, or they expect the players these days to now wait it out for things to be... That's my phone, sorry. So back to that. It feels like Square Enix is now banking on their players to actually put up with here and there lackluster amount of content or types of content to do, patch it out and just say, if you want this, just wait for a patch, which isn't great. And I don't really want them to fix something by patch. We hate that in our single player games. I don't think it should be in an MMO. I think patches should be something that was very forethought for that content, and to add something new while we've stuck our teeth into what they have, and we didn't get a lot. Story was a decent length, but like I said, if it wasn't for the server issues, I would have gone through that launch experience extremely quickly, and I wouldn't see myself logging on as much. Now, I did encounter many people, I would say many, a number of people that I interacted with, made friends, and they're not really playing the game. I don't really just want to base the game just on a new player experience, that there's new players that's been brought in that I can interact with. That's when you play this game long enough, you kind of want to discuss in a way that makes sense to another player. So this is jargon, topics, what content there is. You don't want to go, oh, what is that? For me, it's you want to have in-depth discussion with other players because they've played long enough as well. So you get to, I love interacting with the player. That's the reason why I play MMOs, and also like what they think of it as well. But you can only really build in-depth discussions, conversation with other players if they're also veterans as well. Does it mean I dislike new players? No. New players, do your thing, have fun. It's a bit of a ranty video. It's short in comparison to what I do anyway, but to me, when it came to launch of an expansion, for a veteran player that just wants to do new stuff with the character that I play, it didn't present anything groundbreaking or new, or anything addition to sink my teeth into without having to go to all content. Guys, if you made it this far, give me a like, subscribe, that will be fantastic. But comment below, I want to hear your thoughts on this sort of subject. Is Square Enix kind of not caring about its veteran players much anymore? Is the game becoming more stagnant for us? And where do you think they're going to take the game further from this now that they've ended the main story since 2.0? I'll see you guys next time. Bye.